Dan here, D-Speed Shop. So I think we're gonna try and take this thing for a test drive. I'm actually not feeling that great today, which is a bit unfortunate, but I do want to put some miles on. If we try and take this thing for a bit of a road trip, or I do anyways. Unfortunately, the weather nice today, tomorrow it's supposed to get kind of crappy, so if we don't get some miles in now, we're not going to. That being said, I am rather confident, and I don't think it's like a false sense. I mean, obviously, good motor, the transmission, the gear bender, the 9-inch, it's all new. We did new rear brakes. My only concern was those axles. I got those in, but I'm pretty confident in that. Otherwise, the car is the car. We're having a slight issue with, it has no headlights right now. The headlight switch is broken. I forgot to pick one up, so I gotta do that. And it has no front turn signals, but it has rear turn signals and brake lights and all that. So, but that's the only thing I think we're skirting right now is no front signals. I did...
Hand signals?
Yeah, we got hand signals. We're fine. So we got that.
Do you know what they are?
Thumbs up. That's all I do.
Okay, how do you do a right? How do you left? How do you stop?
Oh no, that's left. That's stop.
Well, this...
Anyways, nobody cares. So I don't know what we kind of did a lot of screwing around. I didn't film it. So it has the big cooler on it. I don't know if we filmed that. I put a light bar on it. Just, you know, kind of, it's only got 2 tack bolts on it, but I don't think it'll fall off. Yeah, that's just for, I've learned my lesson. Seeing at night is nice. Everything, I went and got that heat wrap, so it's heat wrapped. We got the, you know, plug wires just zip tied away. What else did we do? Air filter on it. I mean, you got the John Touch. I don't think I did a whole lot else. I feel like I did a lot of little things, but I don't remember what they were. So, anyway, look at that nice car. Do your side. So we'll put a few miles on it. Oh, I put a thermostat in it. I fixed a coolant leak. Yeah, I don't know. Just a bunch of kind of little stuff. Nothing too serious. I still got to wire in cell phone charger, and I actually got a GPS speedo. Whether I need that or not, I'm not too sure. Fire extinguisher. A couple of tools. If I can't fix it with vice grips and 9/16. Oh yeah, I gotta do seat belts. Forgot about that.
Idle's way nicer now.
What?
The idle's way nicer now.
Well, I had my guy tune it. I put the vacuum line for the transmission, so it should shift. We'll gingerly take it down the back lane. I had it running already today, so.
I can't get over how much room there is. And this seat is nice.
Well, I put it back, so I'm comfy.
Well, it's going to be comfy for road trips. That's good.
Yeah, I'd like to take this thing on a road trip, so I'm going to go for a little cruise, and maybe we can convince Danny to go on a little weekend trip just for fun, eh?
Oh, like a romantic one?
As romantic as it gets in a 55 Chevrolet.
Well, it is a bench seat. We can sit side by side.
We always sit side by side.
Well, like side by side touching legs.
We're large. That happens. I sold the Cobra. This thing sounds awesome.
It sounds wicked cool.
Chicks dig it. Actually, like, it's not too bad. I was worried about those ladder bars, but they're okay. So, I don't know. A little rich, but not crazy. It shifted though. So what's that? That's third, that's second. So that's good. What is... So we'll see, gear bender went on. Did it pull into a... Oh yeah, it went into overdrive, I think. Let's do it second over, baby. Yeah. So I went into overdrive there. Now listen, look at this. So I don't know if you heard it or not, but it came out. Now we're not going very fast, so obviously it's not going to make a big difference.
Don't reverse with it on.
Well, that magic box that's not put away yet should control that.
This?
Yes. So we should be good.
Oh man, let's go on the ring road.
Yeah, we'll go. Do we have gas? Half a tank. Oh, I didn't even look. Oh, I didn't hook the speedometer up right. Gotta do that.
Gas? Ooh, should we go get ice cream? Oh no, you don't feel good. Never mind.
That sounds risky. Think it's fast? Oh. Oh, there's kids there. It's bogged there. It's not happy. We need to tune that up. Or maybe it's still cold, I guess. It sounds good. I feel like it's going to need... Unfortunately, it's this Cossack, like, whatever. You just don't have time. It's sporty. We'll have to play with it a little bit and just see. It didn't like that flat-footed, so either needs more pump shot or who knows what, I guess. The problem is, this is a borrowed carburetor. I have the tunnel. Oh, I should have shown the tunnel ram. It's in the garage, and carburetors and all that stuff. It's residential here. So there's no point in like completely making this thing crazy, because ultimately we're gonna put dual quads on it. At least I am. Yeah, it'll be fun. Got a bit of a traction issue there.
Well, let's go cruising.
Let's go for a drive. We'll see what happens. So it's driving good. I mean, cruise is nice, straight. The one tire might rub. The tires are taller on this. So yeah, we actually put a 389 gear. It had a 411 and a slightly taller tire. So we need more gear ratio, I think. That'll just be more fun, like a 430 or something like that, but we'll see. I mean, like under a little bit of load, it's like 11, you know, a little rich, but it's motors. So anyways, now here we're cruising 3,000 RPM. There we go, 2,400, 2,300 overdrive. It's running, I don't know, 170, 175. So I got a 160 stat in it. Okay, so we'll pull it on overdrive. We got construction, but it works. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're gonna drive by. Oh, something in my eye. It's got, we got to seal the firewall. There's some holes there, and you can kind of feel it in the eyeballs a little bit, but that's no big deal. Otherwise, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but off to a pretty decent start.
Well, we'll see what happens in this big traffic jam.
Yeah, well, it did get to like 180 sitting in traffic, so we'll see. It's hot out today. I mean, it's, I don't know, high 20s or something like that.
27 degrees.
So, I mean, I don't know, 80, mid 80s, something like that Fahrenheit. So not roasting hot, but this thing has got timing in it and all that, so we'll see. I do have that Delta fan, which I might put on. It's one of those things where this thing ran fine with that big, I got a 7-blade mechanical on it, which is just kind of old school, which I like, but we'll see. Actually, we got some parts here. I'm gonna see if John and Cecil are around. We're gonna drop some junk off, and if they're there, great. If not, drop it off and go. But I'd like to get back. This is our ring road, actually, we're on here. So we're in construction right now, but when we leave, we'll take the long way home and just see how it is on the highway and go from there. But probably got, 30 miles on it, 20 miles on it already. We live on one side of the town. John and Cecil live on the exact other side, so been running good. I mean, I am confident in everything, though. I mean, the car was good, the motor's good, trans good, like everything is good. So keep driving, see what happens. Dan here, DD Speed Shop.
This is the same video as yesterday.
But it's a new day.
It is.
And a lot has changed.
It is a new day and a lot has changed.
So, let me give you a little Cole's notes here. Last night ended up going sideways. So we were out doing a little test drive. And, oh, hair. And we ended up going to John and Cecil's. I had a couple things I wanted to drop off for them. And I thought, hey, you know, they could take a look or whatever. And actually, I took a picture. Maybe you can enter it right here. I'll send it to you. Where they took this thing for a ride. And thing was running good. The overdrive was working. Everything was cool. And they didn't break it. That's not where I'm going. So they take it up the road, and they get on like the drag strip there. You know, totally legal. And man, did this thing make some noise for a few gears. So they're playing with it. And ultimately, we came to the consensus that the carburetor was on it, which is right here. It's John's 850 XP, so that is a honky-tonkin', like racy carburetor. So, what it does very well is go wide open throttle. What it doesn't do super well is have street manners. And I will say, anything can be tuned, so we could have spent a pile of time on that, and it had it all tuned up, right? But the end goal with this is to run, I don't know if we showed this tunnel ram with 2 carburetors on it. The carburetors, snafu, I had ordered them, something happened, and they haven't got shipped yet. So that ship has sailed for right now. So we don't have 2 carburetors. That carburetor, I mean, A, it's a loaner, and B, it's just going to be on for a short amount of time, so what's the point? So then last night, also we only could hang out for so long because we ran out of headlights because they were not working. But we should be able to fix that today. So we ran out and I grabbed this carburetor off the Nova. So I stole parts. Now this is probably, I'm going to say, under carbureted. This is a 650 XP, which they're typically on the richer side. But we're trying to do drivability right now. I mean, this car, it's all together, and it's going to take a little bit of screwing around before we kind of thread the needle of both being very racy and performancey as well as very reliable and and drivable. What we did learn is the converter's a little tight, which is probably okay for what we're doing right now, for the highway cruising and having some fun with it. If we're going to go racy, it needs more rear end gear, and it needs more converter, and obviously we'll have to work with carburation. That just kind of gets you up to where we're at. That header is leaking. We blew out a gasket. I might have a crack in it. I'm not really too sure. So that has to come apart. The other thing is when we were driving back, we didn't have overdrive. The gear vendors was not working. That was a bit of a sense of panic. But you know what? Shocker, Dan was at fault. So now today, and they shredded belts, those guys. They like kept blowing belts. Turns out it's 7,500 RPM at Chuck's belts. There you go. Man, so John and Cecil, they put her through it. Put more timing in it and all sorts of things. So tonight, I'm going to screw around. Danny's actually on her way out here, but we're actually going to hook up vacuum advance so we can pull timing back a little bit for easier starting. Because right now, it does not like to start hot because there's a pile of timing in it. So I might have to get like an MSD box, something to pull timing on crank or whatever, but race car stuff. It's a street car. I keep having to remind John that. So maybe he can take this video and be like, oh yeah, he wants to cruise it. So anyways, John. So anyway, we're just trying to I love him, don't worry about it. So we're doing that. Now we had no gear vendor. I'm like, oh, this is bad. So we get home, after work today, I ran to the parts store. I got belts, I got high beam switch, I got some stuff like that. I grab header gaskets. I get home, I jack it up, I look at it, I go to test the gear vendor. It has fluid in it. Everything has power. I tested the solenoid. It clicks. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? It's not getting a signal to turn on. So we can click the switch on, I can hit the button, the red light goes on, but the green light doesn't go and it doesn't go into overdrive. I'm like, well, what the hell? So I'm like, speed sensor. It's not getting it. Start taking it all apart, checking it, it's good. Well, the speedometer cable feeding the speed sensor, I have it up on the stands, and I have it in gear, it no spinny. So I learned a lot about speedometer drive gear for Turbo 400s. A lot. Now, when I got this gear vendor, so the way it worked, it was, again, Dan's fault. So I had bought the gear vendor off John, and I bought a bunch of the gear vendor stuff right from gear vendor for a Turbo 350. You guys really got to pay attention for this because this is where it gets complicated. So we ended up getting a fancy Pro Mod, top of the line gear vendor, Turbo 350 stuff. Everything I got, including the gear and all that for the speedometer, was meant to be in Danny's car, which was going to have a 28 tall tire and a 389 gear. So then we took all that stuff and throw it in this, which is all different. So I made a lot of things work. As it turns out, it didn't work. Now, what it came with was this is the drive gear for the speedometer, and it came with a green gear, which was tuned for the rear end. Now, this is where things get DD speed choppy. I don't want to lose that, and it's black. Okay, it's right in the fan. You want to put that in your pocket? So it came with this gear. And what I had in the car was this Speedo drive unit. And as you can see, it fits quite nicely. Now, it didn't fit. And I was thinking to myself, well, that's weird. What are we going to do about that? I know, I'll put it in the drill and I'll sand it down until it does fit, which is what I did do. Now, where's this gear? So these start off as the same size. Now, as you can see, this, it doesn't, you don't fit, but it does fit in this one. Now, I'm sure there's some old school guys who totally understand this, but this is all learning to me. On the side of the, whatever you want to call this, the Speedo drive, it says 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. That is for the teeth. So if you want to run a 40 to 43 tooth, you need this. If you want to run a 36 to 39, you use this. Now I had like a 21 tooth in this, and it leaked all the time. I didn't know why. But now I think I do know why. It was the wrong thing. Anyway, called around everywhere. No, actually a lot of people had it, but wouldn't sell it to me because it was after 4 o'clock. Even though they were still open, they said call back tomorrow. Well, that didn't work for me. So I called John. And he went through his pile of stuff, and he had some cores, and he had this kicking around. So this is actually a 40 tooth gear. And believe it or not, it's basically going to be perfect. So I went to TCI and had a calculator, and it said what size tire, what size or what rear end gear, and it gives you your tooth. And I need a 39 tooth or 39.2 tooth gear. And this is a 40. So it'll be very close. I guess a 39 in this would have been a little more exact. But there you have it. So I'm going to jam this back in. We're going to mess with the carburetor. We're going to mess with the distributor. We're going to change the belt. What else got to do? Oh, make it have headlights and turn signals. And screw around a little bit. And then hopefully put a pile of miles on. Now that being said, today's good weather. Tomorrow and the day after are both terrible and rainy. And I'm supposed to be leaving Friday after work. That being said, work is actually being busy right now. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to power on.
You've got a lot to get done while I go for dinner with my friends.
And Danny's leaving, so Dan's on his own for filming, so there might be none of it happening.
We'll come back and we'll go over what's happened.
Well, I'm going to be under the car, so we'll get that all taken care of and kind of show you along the way, but it should be pretty simple. Thanks for watching. Buy a t-shirt.
Are we just going to do like a practice ending of the video?
We'll see you in a bit. I don't know, how else has I done this by myself? How does this even work? So, it looks the same. Change the belt, kind of give it a once over. I played with it just a little, got it kind of tuned up. Where did I put that other gasket? I did what with it? So it had a blown out header gasket. Man, there's stuff everywhere. They're working on a deadline. This is the collector gasket, which was, know if it was broke or I did that taking it apart, but that is junk. And where did I put the other one there? There's only so many places it can hide with how organized I am. Okay, I gotta find it. There it is. So obviously we blew out two holes there. So bummer. The other ones look okay. So I actually bought some different gaskets. I had some of these in stock, but we'll just toss these in the car just in case. Road trip stuff. Headers are a nightmare, let's be honest. But I bought some Remflex, they were called, so they're extra thick ones. We put that on there, torqued that down. Like I said, put the belt on. I played with the gear vendor. We filled that back up with oil, tightened that all up. But then I was trying to hook up the speedometer, and I was pulling on it, and I broke the end right off of it. It is the factory one. I actually have one, but Tri-5s have two sizes, I believe. Short and long, and I have a long one. I think this is a short one. We can make it work, I guess, but it's dark out. I actually like to drive this thing. Oh, I did the wiring. That's what else I did. So, whoops, where's the headlight switch? So we have headlights, both sides, so that's cool. We have signals, which is cool. The only thing that's weird is it lights up this one. It lights that up with the headlights on, so that doesn't really make any sense. But otherwise, like, look at that. Everything all kind of does its thing. Get the key on. Have signals. That's cool. I think the high beam indicator works, maybe? No, it doesn't. Did this go on? The headlight switch is definitely not super happy either. Did they go on? Oh yeah, they're on. I don't know. That switch is a little sticky, but in either way, we have headlights, we have turn signals, we have brake lights, we have backup lights, we have lights. It's almost like I rewired this thing a few years ago. So that's all cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and just take it for a quick ride around the block. We'll see. And someone's belt squealing there. It's like I put it on. Just make sure we have the overdrive, because that honestly is my big concern for the road trip. We got to get that taken care of. I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, clearly when you see a broken part, that is usually what's wrong. And then I want to drive to work tomorrow if I can. This thing is right out of gas. It eats fuel. I tell you, I actually got a jerry can. Maybe let's go get some gas. And then what else we got? GPS speedo, cell phone charger, kind of those little odds and ends. I'd like to get that done over the next couple of days if I can. I'm fighting out painting it. Everyone wants me to paint this thing, which, whatever. I guess it is what it is. And yes, I know, two-lane car. People are schooling me. I understand. It had a fiberglass deck lid. It had fiberglass doors. It had sliding windows. It also wasn't a four-door. I get it, not a four-speed. I hear you. This isn't a clone, I guess. It's more of a... I just like the style. I like the way it looks. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get the hood down here. We got air filter back on it. It's just not the same when I'm making jokes to myself. I like when Danielle's here. I like when Danielle's here. I like when Danielle's here. I can't be alone. All right. Let's go for a rip. Dan here, DD Speed Shop.
This is still the same video.
Oh yeah, right. So I was out last night kind of cruising around. It became dark. So went and got some fuel. I played around a little bit with this thing. And ultimately, where we're at is, well, I don't want to spend a bunch of time and money because I just want this thing to cruise. So when you're picking, now I am no expert, I will preface this by saying, just so if anyone gets confused. Picking a carburetor is pretty important. Obviously, you got to pick it based on the application and what kind of fuel you want to run and the vehicle itself and all that stuff, and then what your goal with it is, and kind of carry on from there. Now, what we're doing is none of that. The end goal is to run a tunnel ram with dual quads on this, which will work. I mean, it'll be fine. Be a little bit of screwing around with tuning and all that, but that's kind of part of it, right? Which I'm fine with and excited to do. But that's when it's going to be on the car and the carburetors are going to stay on the car, so you can spend time and money on it and not feel like you're wasting anything. Now, this car, it's going to do a few different things. Obviously, we want to be able to kind of road trip it. We're talking about maybe doing a little bit of, drag weeky stuff. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But the car can change. I mean, oh, Danny's pants are undone.
I didn't do them up after I went pee.
Because you're so skinny. Wow, there you go. Anyway, so the way the car's set up right now, I mean, it has a 390 gear, which is fine for kind of around the street. We have the gear bender in it. We could put like a 456 in it or something like that and really have something. Obviously, carburation-wise, that 850 that was on it is really, kind of the ticket for what we want to do. So you can play around with it. Now, anyways, this is that XP carb that I had. And what we're doing is playing with it a little bit. So I was out last night. I got to idle pretty decent. So it's idling at 13.5, 14.0 air fuel. The problem we're running into is that transition when we go from idle to kind of running off the main jets is pretty fat. We're kind of in the high 11s, low 12s, which is too rich for what we're trying to accomplish with some cruising. We're going to be in that range all the time. Wide open. I was out playing a little bit last night. Kind of took it up to like maybe 6,000 RPM or so. It's not right on it, and it was kind of on the leaner side at like 14.2. So we have to play with it a little. Again, I'm no expert. But I came home and I was messing with it some more, and I actually had the vacuum gauge hooked up, and it has none. Like very, very little. 5 or 6 inches at idle and park, and like 2 or 3 in gear. We do have to play with it, maybe drive with it with the vacuum gauge on it and see what it kind of does. But that brings us to power valves. Now this carburetor was not messed with, whatever. It's got 70 jets front and back, and it had a 6.5 power valve in it. Now I'm not an expert, so this is like amateur of amateurs. I'm good at like kind of getting stuff running and getting it going, but the fine-tuning and minutia is not where I'm good at. And you guys let me know that in the comments on a regular basis. But sometimes you have to look like an idiot on the internet to learn every day, all day, and then I cry myself to sleep. Anyway, the way this, I believe, works is vacuum controlled, a little vacuum controlled valve, and there's a spring on it. And what happens is, as you transition from your idle circuit to your main jet, I think, this will allow more fuel in, or less, I guess, depending on how it is, depending on the vacuum. So if at wide open throttle, vacuum decreases, it will start adding more fuel. Now, the kind of rough thing around it, so a power valve is whatever you have for idle or for vacuum. So let's say you have 14 or something inches of vacuum, you want your power valve to be half, so like a 6.5 or something like that. Now obviously if we have a 6.5, that means at I think 6.5 inches of vacuum, it's going to be pouring more fuel in. Well, when we only have 2 or 3 inches of vacuum, it's immediately dumping fuel. So I put in a 2.5, 2.5, which I think is all the same. It's just the spring is different. Sorry. You see it in there?
No.
So in theory, well, you have to trust me, I guess. In theory, this should hopefully allow that transition and that kind of, right into the main jets be less rich. I think. I hope. That's my interpretation. That's what John told me. He's the expert. We played with air bleeds in a little bit yesterday. I don't have a whole lot of stuff, and he actually, John recommended I should buy. I'm going to start having nicer carburetors. I should have a whole assortment of stuff, which I don't have. So we're going to do that, and then I'm probably going to jet up, I think, the secondaries, which hopefully will, under wide open throttle, bring us into a bit better of a situation. Oh, it's leaking gas. At wide open throttle, air fuel is kind of, whoops, that was 100% backwards. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, this is not a permanent thing. This is kind of what we got. Damn it. I'm not gonna lie, that's probably a pretty expensive piece of the carburetor. Did we break it?
I think my foot broke the fall.
Oh, you're fine. I'll just knock this little vent tube out. Yeah, appreciate your foot there, baby. John just cringed. Ah!
He just, something like in the universe or whatever, he's working on something at home and he just, ugh.
What happened? That's the way she goes around here. Doesn't faze me any. So I'll put this back together and we'll drive it. Like I said, it's just hopefully to make it so it's kind of a cruiser or cruisable, a little bit nicer. And then well, this has to go like that. And then my life will be easy.
For the people worried about my foot, I'm not wearing flops today.
Oh yeah. Good for you. So we'll get this all dialed together. We'll fire it up. And maybe I'll show you the vacuum, or yeah, we'll see what happens. I could have showed you beforehand, but then things get hot. I'm trying to avoid working on hot motors. Did exhaust yesterday, you know. Work smarter, not harder. So I'll get this reassembled. We'll carry on. Okay, so I got it gets running. Got a little heat in the motor. So it's, I don't know, 13.8, 13.9, 14.0 at idle at 900 RPM. And we have maybe 5 inches of vacuum. And then here, I'll put it in gear. You can look at that. They go down to like nothing. What's it at? Yeah, so 2, but here we are in gear. So we're running 750 RPM. You know, same thing, 13.8, 14.0. And then if you rev it, that'll kind of move. So hopefully that'll fix some issues. I blocked off the power valve on the rear, so we'll see if that does anything, because I had a block off for it. I'm just, if it's wrong, it's wrong. It's not the end of the world, because we can always put it back to the way it was. So we're gonna do that for now, see if it's any better. We're gonna go for a little drive. Otherwise it needs some more fine tuning. So what I can do is just tee that vacuum line in. That's for the transmission, so we need it, and we can see what the vacuum is doing and kind of play from there. I don't think there's a whole lot else I can really do. I mean, I guess, well, there's lots you can do, but keep kind of monkeying around and playing with it. But I'm hoping that makes a big difference. I mean, obviously, that low a vacuum with 6.5 power valves is going to be dumping fuel on that transition. So we'll see what that does for us. So let's put this together and go for a little road trip to the furniture store. Stan's an idiot time. Went for a drive. It was still screwed. And I'm driving around like, why is this thing so rich? And then it dawned on me. You know why this thing is so rich?
It's like a muffler falling on your head.
And you know why the Nova ran so rich and all these things? Because somebody had this racy carburetor on that blower, that Nomad, and this carburetor is not, it's supposed to have a boost reference, which it didn't have. So everyone's like, oh, just jet it up. So I just jetted it up, and I jetted it up because I didn't want to lean out the motor under boost. But here we are, so, well, under, 13, 7, 8, whatever, 2,000 RPM. So anyway, this thing had 78 jets in the mains. Should be 70. I didn't have any 70s. I had 67s. I have 72s, so I put the 67s in. So I might call John. It's actually John and, Nancy. I was going to say Natalie. Nancy's anniversary, so comment section. Happy anniversary, Nancy. So I still have stuff we can change the air bleeds, so I'm almost wondering if I should put the 72s in with the air bleeds, if that would be the same as 67s with the I don't know. I don't know. I know enough not to know, but here we are.
We're not calling John tonight.
No. We've only called him every other night this week. I don't know why he still answers. Anyway, so 13.8 or whatever. Accelerate goes down to 12.5 or whatever. A little on the rich side. But we're transitioning. And now here we are in the main jets, 2,000 RPM. 13 whatever, and we're cruising. So, I don't know. Well, let's go on the main road here. We'll see. But I hope. Now, I don't know. I don't think the air fuel. No, hey, I shouldn't say this. Maybe if you're a genius, if you want it like 13.5, you can have it so it goes through each section. But obviously, going from the idle, so here we are, 750 RPM, 14.0, 14.5. Sounds okay. Actually, sounds like something's rattling on this side. It sounds better when it's a little fatter in my mind, a little more
Fat and happy.
fat and happy. That's how I like them. But here we are. I mean, 175 degrees, sitting here, no problem. It's cloudy, but it's actually quite hot today. It's not really loading up or nothing. I need a little bit more idle speed. I know John is obsessed with having it like as low and idle as it'll go without stalling out. But I like a little bit more just for my own personal. That's what I like. A little bit more idle. It doesn't rattle as much in the car when you're sitting in it. And my stuff has a couple of rattles, so hopefully this light will change. Actually, it's rush hour, so we're probably going to get stuck at this green light because people just don't care. Signal on, not working, but we'll assume it's working. But yeah.
Happy days.
So a little bit more.
Oh my gosh, we didn't get stuck.
Wow. This guy almost did.
All the time, people like go to this light and they stay in this intersection and just block all of your possibilities of making the light.
So it's accelerating 13.5, 13.6, 13.7. And what can we cruise at? That's traffic light. Bah! We're in the ballpark of it's livable at this point. I didn't drive it to work today. I should have, but it was not the plan. So we're actually going to look at some couches. So we'll play with it a little bit on the way out. Give it a little adjustamente. You know, I'll give a big little horsepower on it like John and Cecil do. But I think I doubt we're tuned for all the throttle. We'll play with it a little bit. Unfortunately, it's kind of busy and rush hour, so I don't want to wing this thing to the moon, but we'll just let her rip a little bit. I want the 12.5 there at wide open, so we'll have to watch that, but I think we should be okay. So we'll go do a little furniture shopping. Why would we be shopping for furniture? Are we moving?
You know what? There was this place I saw that I actually thought we might like.
Where are we going? Is it to the right here?
I don't know.
All right, we'll be right back. Well, we did a little cruising around, and honestly, the car did pretty good. So where we're at right now is on transition is a little fat, not too bad. Wide open, she's happy. It's like, 13 or 13.5 or something like that. At, we probably took like 6,500 RPM there or something like that on the designated racetrack area. So I think that's happy. But what it is it seems like under, I'm gonna say like moderate load. So it hasn't, like we're not in the secondaries. It gets up to like 15, 16 to 1, which I guess maybe isn't terrible, but I'm thinking right now, like from passing on the highway, that's probably where I might end up being. So it had like a big, like a 78 jet or something in the main. I wanted to put a 70 in it, but I don't have a 70. I think what I have is either a 72 or a 73. So we'll put that in there and then maybe take it for a drive, see what it does. And then I do have a set of air bleeds, so we can try that. But at this point, I'm sure you guys are all experts in the comment section. I could hardly wait for you to tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong. But this is where we're at for right now. So I'm going to keep kind of messing with it, tuning it a little bit. It's supposed to rain the next couple of days. And then, yeah, I want to give it kind of once over. I want to put some what do I want? Like cell phone charger. I'm gonna steal the wipers off the Nomad. It's kind of stuff like that. But there you have it. This is not an educational video by any means. This is just what I'm doing, which is probably half wrong. But I'm gonna keep playing with it a little bit. I think we're circling and we're getting closer and closer to the old bullseye. So, thank you so much for watching. I know we've been all over the place filming this over 3 different days. Again, I know I said it all the time, especially thanks to John and Cecil. I mean, they put up with me, which I know I can be a bit of a hassle. But such is life. And they're currently building another motor as we speak. So I will see you on the next video.